Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. This will be a quick introduction to Docker and how it can help you in your work as a developer. We will go over the most important topics and show you why you may want to use Docker in your work or personal projects. Let's jump straight to it. Before we begin, we need to go over some concepts and why we implement them. First, we will talk about virtualization. Virtualization is the creation and separation of virtual versions of physical resources, such as hardware, servers, operating systems, storage devices, or network components. These virtual resources are abstracted from the underlying physical hardware, allowing multiple virtual environments to coexist on a single physical machine. But why do we do this, and how does it look in practice? Let's say that we have a company that has a website, an email server, a database, and an app. Traditionally, the company will need 4 different servers to run them, since the applications might have conflicting software requirements and resources like CPU, RAM, and storage might not be shared efficiently. Virtualization can solve this by implementing a single server where 4 virtual machines are created, each hosting different software with its requirements. For example, VM1 will run the website on a machine with Linux. VM2 will run the email server on Windows. VM3 will run the database on a machine with MySQL and Linux, and VM4 runs the app on Linux. The company might use hypervisor like VMware or Hyper-V to manage the resources of the server. Now that we've gone over virtualization, let's look at containerization. Containerization implements the same principles of separation, just instead of separating the server into different VMs. It creates containers for each separate process of an app. Breaking down each process into a container and trying to manage it can be quite challenging. This is where tools like Docker come in to help us. But what is Docker? Docker helps us containerize our app, and it solves the usual argument. It works on my machine by running the app in its own environment. Let's go over the key things about Docker. We will go over the Docker file, the Docker image, and the container. The Docker file is essentially a script document containing a set of instructions to automate the process of creating the Docker image. It defines everything needed to set up an environment for a containerized application, ensuring consistency across different environments. The Docker image is a standalone executable package that includes everything needed to run a piece of software, such as application code, libraries, environment variables, configuration files, a minimal runtime environment, and more. After the image is created, we can run it as a container, which will represent a self-sufficient unit that will contain everything needed to run the application. Containers run in isolation from one another, and the host system ensuring consistency across different environments. Now let's see this in action. Assuming we already have Docker and Node, we will begin with empty folder in which I will run npm init-y, which will create a package file. Then I will run npm install express. In VsCode, our project now looks like this. I will create a server.js and create a simple server with Express that will listen on port 3000 and will have a single get route, which will say, hello, dockerized node.js. Now to begin dockerizing out app, I will create a Docker file. Inside, I will use the official Node 18 image as the base, set the working directory to app, copy our package.json, and run the install command, copy the rest of the application's files, expose port 3000 on which our server is listening to, and start our app by running node server. Now I want to also add a Docker ignore, in which I will exclude the node modules. Now that everything is ready, we have to build our image by running docker build-t and the name of our app. Docker now looks at our Docker file and reads the instructions that we have specified. Now we just have to run our image by saying docker run dash p4000:3000 in the name of our app. Now if we open another terminal and run docker ps, we can see that our container is running. If now we go to the browser and localhost 4000, we will see that our containerized server is working. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below. Until next time, and as always, stay positive, stay creative, and I will catch you in the next one.